gathering here again tonight. And tonight's agenda is basically going to be kind of like it was last month. We don't have a whole lot of business that we have done as a party at this time. But like last month, we just had speakers. We were letting speakers address the crowd and the concerns and comments and stuff of the county. And that's what it's going to be tonight. But I would like, before I get started, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance and then have prayer, and then we'll go from there. Do the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's go to prayer, please.
Father in heaven, we just thank you that as citizens of this county in which we live, that we have this opportunity to get together as people who are civic minded. We thank you, Father, that we have this responsibility as well as privilege. Thank you for each one who is gathered here this evening. May your name be honored and glorified, as well as expressing our views on particular political issues and all these kinds of things. And Father, we just ask that you would guide us and direct us in the area that we should go, and that we'd be faithful to follow your leadership. We pray now your blessings, and we ask that you guide us and direct us now. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. To open this up, I'm going to ask Rodney to just let everybody know what our financial status is and anything we've spent or bought or what have you, and then we'll stay up to par before our next meeting. But anyway, if you would, Secretary, Treasurer,
Right now, Nelson, for this month, and our balance right now is $1,769.04.
okay. We haven't, we ain't out here spending a whole lot of money. We're trying to keep enough. We know we got a war coming up here ahead of us. We're going to have to help people occasionally buy some cars or whatever once we endorse somebody or try to get behind a certain person. I'm sure later on, Marsha, the way I've been told, some of the others are going to come by. So we'll do some meet and greets, and we're going to entertain the idea of some meet and greets with some of the local level politicians and stuff. We'd like to see them attend these things too, and just hope that they've got a conservative viewpoint, and a Republican would be great too. We're, in this world, right now, we're dealing with some real evil people on the other side of the aisle. And it's not like they want to compromise and listen to what you got to say or something. And it's up to us to make sure, just like the poll I heard today and yesterday, evangelical Christians, which we primarily are as a body, we got a voting record of 40% or less. We go to church, we believe in God, and we push our beliefs as much as we can without trying to offend somebody. If they get offended, so be it. But we can't stay home. When the church people, when this election right here, I truly believe, is the most serious election this country has ever gone through. I really believe that.
Amen.
And then on the other hand, just like our Second Amendment people, man, this is duck hunting country, carry guns. And the Second Amendment people believe so strongly in the Second Amendment, but 30-something% of them is all it shows. We got to turn this stuff around and get 70-80% of the people that believe in the Second Amendment to show up at the polls. And also the Christians. That's really the main thing. If you go to church or you believe in God, don't go to church. But we got to get behind this election. Is so vital for the future of this country. I don't want to ramble too long. I got a lot I'd like to say, but it ain't the place to say it. And anyway, at this point, I'd like to address or ask Mr. Holmquist. He's a Team Tennessee representative for the Marsha Blackburn. And he's going to field any questions. He specifically and encourages any farmers and stuff, if you got a question to ask or anything at all, he's going to take those questions and jot them down in his mind, what have you. If you don't have the answer tonight, if you, Mr. Patterson, got anything specific, I think this guy, as good as I know him so far, I believe he will get back with it. But there were two things that I think, where's Will? Oh, okay. Were you going to address anything? Okay. I'd just like to turn it over and you come up and then first question be to Will, and that way I know, I was told you got some stuff you got to do.
Absolutely. Well, it's always great to be up in Lake County. I do love to coming up here. You know, West Tennessee, we often feel ignored, and I know that Lake County often feels extremely ignored. I've been able to serve up here in Lake County with Senator Jackson's campaign 4 years ago, 2 years ago on Senator Blackburn's campaign, and now I'm back here again as Senator Blackburn gets ready to run for governor of Tennessee, or she's running for governor of Tennessee. And Lake County, I know that there's a lot of work that we have to do here to get to a better economic state. And one of the things Marsha has been talking about is economic growth across the state of Tennessee. We've grown a lot in Middle Tennessee, and it's gotten a little too big, and it's changed a lot. East Tennessee has changed a lot. And we're starting to change Memphis for the better and bring it back to the Memphis it was. And West Tennessee, we want to give this economic growth to without changing the soul of West Tennessee, without changing the soul of Lake County. One of the things I've been talking with Senator Jackson and Rusty Grills with a lot has been opening the port of Kate's Landing to make sure that we can get industry up here that will help give that economic boost to Lake County. Senator Blackburn is fully behind that. So that we can, you know, first of all, we can take some of the stress off the Port of Memphis and move it up here. But we aren't going to turn Lake County into Memphis. We're going to keep Lake County without, you know, a lot of the issues that we've been having economically here. With that as well, illegal immigration may not seem like a big issue right here, but over in New Bern, there were 12 illegal immigrants living there, and they've been, you know, deported now. But I mean, that is happening in our communities. These are people who are taking tax dollars away from you and me in a time when we can be using those tax dollars to fix our roads and, you know, to help our local economy. But then also we have farming. And I know that Lake County is a big farming community, and that's really what I want to be addressing tonight. Senator Blackburn is really big with agribusiness. She isn't a farmer. As you know, we have some people running for office who are out there saying that, you know, they're the farming candidate, that, you know, they own a farm. And Marsha Blackburn, she's not going out there saying that she's a farmer, but she is talking to our farmers, and she is trying to talk to as many farmers as possible and get the farmers to talk to her and come to her with the issues that they have, because she may not be a farmer, but she knows how to help people, and she knows how to listen to people. And we want to make sure that we can listen to you and give the resources that are available, that have been available, but have been not given to Lake County. I've heard multiple times of different issues that we have said we're going to solve as a state for Lake County, and we don't do anything about it because it doesn't look good when you have all these other counties out there, and Lake County, it's the small county. We want to make sure that Lake County gets the attention it deserves, that we get those resources to Lake County, and we need to have a governor of the state who knows the difference between Ripley and Ridgely, and knows that Tiptonville is not in Tipton County. And that's the only person I know who is running for governor that can actually say that is Marsha Blackburn. I don't really want to take much time tonight, so I do want to actually just really open it up to questions, because this is, you know, this is what's more important, is y'all being heard rather than, you know, y'all have known who Marsha Blackburn is for quite a while. And I want you to be able to ask the questions so that you can be heard by our senator. Yeah, questions?
I got three things to talk about on the federal front, what's her stance on HR 7230 Buy American Cotton bill?
So I can't necessarily speak for what she's doing on the federal level right now, as we're working on a state level race. However, consistently, Senator Blackburn has been behind American-made products, and she has been very against moving all of this industry especially of our cotton growing, to China, where it's been moving. You look at a lot of the droughts we've been having here in West Tennessee, where we used to grow all the cotton. The droughts that have been happening are actually beneficial in the time of year for cotton, but we're not able to grow cotton. We're growing soybeans now because China's taken that over. We need to buy American cotton, and we need to manufacture cotton goods in America as well.
The issue there is the U.S. uses 20 million bales of cotton in their own manufacturing, and they buy 3 million bales of U.S. cotton. They import 17 million bales. Our national cotton average was 865 bales, and Brazil's was 1,740 bales. So Brazil is a monster that we've got to deal with. We talk about how to do everything, and it's our fault. But we've got to get out of this shadow of Brazil now. China's back in Brazil, has built their infrastructure. They're shipping stuff back and forth, and China's paying them billions and trillions of dollars to do that.
Yeah, and
but the only bright spot in this cotton market, or in the grain markets, is if we use our own stuff in the United States. And this bill is really important to that. If we keep American agriculture.
absolutely. And Senator Blackburn has been supportive of America First bills, and she has been very strong against communism. China is a communist country. We don't like communist China. We don't like the way they're treating our American farmers or our American businessmen. And Brazil, their president, President Lula, is a communist, and that's just well known. He ran on a communist platform, and he's done crooked things that you get from communism in Brazil. So,
Emily, could you repeat that bill and let her write this down so she can hand it to him when he leaves, where he can research it, maybe get back to
HR 7230.
7230. And that way, when he leaves, you'll have reference to it, and make sure you put down Will Kaiser, the one who referenced that. You also had other things.
Another issue that we have locally is the real fruit running by, and that real fruit running by we've been fighting over since I was a kid or before. Everybody gets ready to go. Let's do something. West Tennessee River Basin Authority, they do it, and then we quit. 2 years later, we pick it back up, and then a year later, we pick it back up. We're losing several thousand acres of crop every year when we get a 2-inch rain in Brooklyn Lake. Something needs to be done there, and I'll bring it up again. She needs to help us do something.
absolutely. I don't know necessarily what can be done, but we're going to have a question written down, and I'll be able to look more into that. And I'll get your contact information after this, and once I have an answer on any of those questions, I will be reaching out to you and letting you know on that.
In full disclosure, before you got here, I briefed him on that one particular thing anyway. I told him last year, I told a lot of the growers up here, and we were having that meeting out on the lake out there, and the guy that represented the tributaries of West Tennessee, he came out there and spoke. Of course, we previously had that big flood right before that. And he said, along with Rusty, that the bids, I may be confused on my months, but I think he said they were going to let bids on this project to clean this whole thing out, I think in August, and expected to start the project in October, I think. And I may be wrong.
That was last year, though.
That was last year.
That was last year, there.
Yeah.
That was last August.
Yeah. And then, anyway, later on, I saw no action on it, and I called Rusty to talk to him about it. I just felt like I need to follow up on my homework too. So I think Rusty said that somehow or another there was a problem with the bid letting, and then they had to go back and redo the bid. And either there was foul play in it, or wasn't enough numbers in that bid, or what have you. But anyway, that's why I knew that it should come up. I mean, this has been, how long, 40, 50 years?
We're grasping at straws trying to find somebody to do something.
Yeah.
And, nobody's done anything yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and talk to Rusty about that. I know he's driving back from Nashville right now, so I'll try and either catch him on the phone after this or call him tomorrow. See if he can give me some more information on exactly what went wrong with that, because it seems like we've tried something, and every time something's gone wrong, we need to make sure we figure out what's gone wrong and how to make sure we can change that to get it to go right.
The last thing is our FSA office up here in Chittenville.
Yeah.
Every county is due an FSA office. Lake County is the cheapest run office in the state. State FSA wants to close it down. They wanted to close it down for 20 years. We're down to 1 employee, and that office is slated for 2.5 employees. 2 employees plus a temporary, 6 months out of the year, 4 months out of the year, whatever they need. We got one girl up there with these bridge payments and SDR payments, and we've got crop certification coming up in July. We had cotton loans this fall. It's more than she can handle. She's begged for help. She needs help. She's due help, and she can't get it. We've talked to the state committee. They turn their heads. I talked to Andy Holt. He says he'll check on it, but see if Marsha can do anything about that, because we're going to work our way out of an FSA office for it. Because if she leaves,
That's a federal position too.
if she leaves, they're not going to open it back up.
And can I also comment, our FSA office, I'm on the FSA board, is the most efficient ran office in the state of Tennessee with the staff.
Yep.
So she does a very good job, but she does deserve some help.
Yeah, I will. I'll reach out to my team, let them know that hey, this is an issue. Have them, if they're able to get in contact with anyone that's able to get that figured
Even
out.
send a temporary.
Yeah,
Send a temporary for 6 months. Whatever
Absolutely,
you
yeah.
got to do, she needs some help.
absolutely. Yeah, we'll get some. I'll do my best to get that information along. Again, being on the grassroots side, it's a little harder to contact. Groups like the federal side or even the campaign for me. I have to go through my boss, and he has to go send a brief of some sort. It's a lot of red tape on getting that help compared
There's
to
still
what
a
it
state
was.
committee,
Yes,
state FSA committee, so we can start there.
absolutely.
All right.
Trey, I saw you had your hand up.
I don't want to take away from anybody's time on asking questions, but I did have a couple of things. I'm very interested in what he was asking about. I know you said you were quoting the bill number HR 7230. Is there a counterpart bill in the Senate where she can actually do anything? We need to know what the Senate bill is on this Buy American Cotton so that we can look into it. And
I don't know how far it's gone.
okay,
I just, it's a bill that's circulating out there.
yeah,
I'm trying to get support for it, to
okay.
where it goes.
But he could check with Senator Jackson, see if there is a Senate bill.
Well, this is in D.C., so it'd be Senator
Yes.
Haggerty and Senator Blackburn.
Right.
It's at the federal level, but also if it's a House bill, we need to talk to David Kuskoff, our congressman. Get on the House bill, and then we need to find out about the Senate bill in the Senate, find out if there's a counterpart she could actually do something on.
Right.
On this other deal, on the River Basin Authority, I was here over at the lake for that meeting.
Right.
The guy that runs that is David Blackburn.
Right.
We need to get David on the phone and find out what went wrong with this bid letting process, or if that's the problem. Because I remember him saying, it was nothing but good news in that meeting. I've known
Right.
David since we were kids. And David, he don't make stuff up. So if there's a problem, we need to find out and let's kick somebody in the backside and get it fixed. Now, this other one, this last one, I'm
If
still,
you would make a note of that name,
David
so
Blackwood.
Peter could know it.
this is the first time hearing about an understaffed FSA office. I didn't know anything about it, but, so look,
Come up here and talk, man. That's
I'm
what
just
we're
gonna
here
come
for.
up here. Let's make it easy.
Somebody may have to-
Come on up there, Trey.
All right. Y'all, not everybody knows me, but I'm gonna introduce myself real quick. My name is Trey Cleek. I'm the West Tennessee Director for Americans for Prosperity. It's not my first time in Lake County. I like Peter a lot. He's doing a great job. Sometimes he can't answer things in the way that he's not allowed to answer things because of the way the campaigns are structured, legally speaking. And he can't go straight to Marsha and ask some of these questions, but that don't stop me from doing it. I'll go ask her any one of these questions and figure out what's going on with this FSA office. If it is a federal employee, then we need to do that. David is at state level, so we'll call Rusty or we'll call Senator Jackson. By the way, I spoke to Senator Jackson. He wanted to be here tonight to be a part of it, but he's getting an award from the Boy Scouts of America. He's getting the Distinguished Citizen Award tonight, and so he couldn't be here. But I'll talk to Ed about it. He takes my call anytime I want to know anything about that. So we'll find out what's going on with the bid process about the rivers and stuff.
Be great.
We want to be me and AFP, Americans for Prosperity. I want to be your conduit. If you got something you want to talk to them about, I want to facilitate that. And so I go and take the meetings. We got any veterans in the room? So just so y'all know, the last 2 months in December, middle of December, I was in DC and I took a meeting with the senator. I don't normally talk about veterans issues, okay? I'm an economy guy. So talking about international trade and this deficit between Brazil and our trade, it's not the first time I've heard us talking about farming deficits with South America and trade imbalances and how China is screwing around with it. I deal with the economy, but we have a sister organization called Concerned Veterans for America. And in December, I took a meeting with Marsha just to talk to her about a bill she's helping us get through for Concerned Veterans for America that's going to allow you veterans to use your VA benefits through a memorandum of understanding and local providers. So how many of y'all have had to drive to Nashville or Memphis to do something to your VA benefits? Well, if that something could have been done at Dyersburg or Baptist in Union City or somewhere closer by, this memorandum of understanding is going to fix that, and Marsha's helping us lead and fix that. That's just another issue where she's leading up front and doing some stuff doing stuff for people that live here in Lake County, people that I've never lived in Lake County. I graduated from Dyersburg, so I lived up the hill. I graduated from Dyersburg High School, but I'm not new around here. And but I can tell y'all this: her heart is for everybody in Tennessee and helping. So if there's an issue we need to talk to her, her door's open to us. I'm gonna bring her. I took notes and I'm listening to what you said.
Can I ask something, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, I talked to Peter about this, okay? All right. We talked about something earlier, and it really makes me freaking mad as crap, too, because you know how the VA says, oh, we're in our back for the veterans and blah, 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 just full crap. The reason why I'm saying this is because one of my providers, she used to be actually a veteran rater for the board.
Okay.
And also, she also did the CMP exams for the VA. So I just bluntly just straight up answered. I said, just how crooked actually is the VA? And she's running. She said, she was looking. She said, they're crooked. I said, elaborate. She said that when she was actually a rater for the VA for the disability ratings, she said the VA came down hard on them. That they can only do so much, give so much of a percentage, if at all. But a lot of times they were encouraged to deny the claim. And then my next question to her was, out of all these raters, what percentage actually has medical knowledge? She said 10%. I said, you mean to tell me there's 90% of these people up there making decisions on veterans' rights and benefits, and they have no idea what's going on?
I don't want to pretend like I don't want anybody to misconstrue this. I'm not trying to make excuses for President Trump or DC in general or blame everything on Joe Biden. The VA has been suffering from chronic mismanagement and misallocation of budgets. That's what happens when you grow a bureaucracy to the enormous size that they're grown to. There's too many middlemen in between the doctors and the nurses and the actual veteran patients that they're supposed to be treating. And that needs to be shrunk to a manageable size so that more of the benefits can go straight to the veterans like it's supposed to. And anytime you grow a bureaucracy that big, the fraud and mismanagement is just going to balloon. So, and that's not just something that's happened in the last 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. I feel like you were probably a veteran for the last 20 years, at least. I'm not trying to tell you how old you are. I'm just guessing by your age there. It's been going, veterans have been seeing the VA grow in bloat and mismanagement for my whole life. That's the way it's gone. I grew up going with, my granddad was in World War II, and I grew up with my dad taking him from, my granddad lived right up the road here in Crystal, across the county line, taking him down to Memphis for his VA benefits. And I've seen it just through that small example for 44 years that I've been alive of how the VA management has gotten bigger and benefits for the VA, for the veterans, has gotten smaller. And trying to come up with the word less critical, it has not been as effective to the veterans.
And they need better VSO officers because right now, they need about they don't know certain parts from the home ground.
Hiring folks for that.
Well, the thing about the example, okay, the guy that's over in O'Brien County.
Yeah.
Walked, whatever his name was, he retired because he kept on telling me that there's certain things that was applying for. He said, there's no way you can get it. I said, sir, let me tell you something. I said, when he tells me I can't do something, I'm gonna prove the butt's wrong. And I did. All right. So now he's retired, and I got another issue. Well, the guy that took his place now, he pulled my stuff up. He's running. He said, "Who kept your claim?" I said, "You're talking to him." I said, "I used the VA reps and used the DAV reps. All this, they didn't know jack crap." I said, "You're talking." I said, "I know what I'm talking about." He said, "Sorry," he said, "I can't help you because I had no." I said, "I'm looking through your stuff now. Half the stuff I had no idea what in the world you're talking about."
All right. We'll be here. Hey, listen, I'm serious. We'll be here forever if we start talking about all the ways that we need to get the VA shaped up and shipped up to be worthy of the people that they're supposed to be serving. But that's what, and I'll see if I can't get somebody from my concerned veterans group to give me some more data on every bill that we're working on at the federal level to help do that. I can just tell you that anytime I've taken a bill to Senator Blackburn or our CBA group, she has not only been willing to help, but she has pitched in and jumped right in both feet to help us do that. So I can get out in if there's a bill, if there's a specific problem or something we need to work on legislatively, while they still have her in DC, before she becomes our governor, we need to work on it now. So we need to not wait on it. We need to get going. For total transparency, I just want y'all to know, we have a PAC, the AFP Tennessee State PAC, and they have endorsed Marsha for governor. And so we will be getting out and knocking doors and doing mail pieces and stuff for Marsha. But we don't work for Marsha. We're an independent deal. We do this with all kinds of candidates. We're involved with helping everything. Y'all might get a piece of mail from me in the not too distant future for Ed Jackson on a piece of legislation I'm working on in Nashville, or Rusty, or we cover the whole gamut. And that's why we do local elections. So that's kind of why I'm here tonight. But also, I wanted to be able to tell y'all about my personal experience with Marsha. You got a question?
I was going to follow up something you said. Now, I'm not a veteran, but my grandfather was, and I was trying to sign him up for something. The second person that I dealt with today was about to retire. And he was honest. You said get rid of the bureaucracy. Too much bureaucracy.
Yeah.
It's the mindset of the VA. Because he told me that day in confidence that the VA would deny you 3 times just so you would give up and not get benefits.
That's the mentality we everybody was kicking the curb. Get that out of here.
What ended up happening with my grandfather in that case is that he had died before he got approved.
It's terrible story. I hate hearing that. And I know 100% that if Marsha was standing here tonight, she would hate hearing that.
No, he didn't. He didn't ever want to use it. He never did. Later in life, as he was suffering from dementia, he needed it. And I spent at least 2.5 years working on it with different people. And like I said, the second guy I dealt with, he was honest with me. He said, "I'm about to retire. I'm out of here. I'll tell you what's going to happen."
I got the same story. I got the exact same story you got right now. Because this is my other grandfather. That's my mom right there. She rode with me just to see the scenery tonight. Her dad was also a veteran, and he had dementia at the end of life. and we were using VA benefits at the Tennessee Veterans Home in Humboldt. They got a special in the back. There's a whole other building that's just what they call a memory unit for folks with dementia and cognitive problems that they're having, just for veterans that have that. And so that's the facility and the VA benefits that I wish to God I could have been there to help get you figured out to where you can get your grandfather help. He needed baby at Humboldt at that facility. So you're right. I mean, listen, there's the amount of things we want to get done for the veterans of the VA. It doesn't stop.
Wasn't that endorsement given today?
Today's the first day I've been able to say a word about it because we finally got approval to say it today. Yes, sir.
You may have been the one, somebody said me that.
Probably so. I shared it all over the place this morning. Just because beforehand, it was maybe troublesome for me and Peter to be in the same place talking about the same thing due to election campaign laws. But now that everything's official, I can stand up here and tell you how I feel about Marsha anytime. But I can also tell you that AFP's made that endorsement. So that's AFP state, Tennessee State PAC has made that endorsement. So there's that too.
Trey, one of the things that concerns me is, like we were talking about our ASCSR, she's fixing to get a promotion, we all think. That's gonna leave us with
Nobody. And
they're gonna, that's all we're afraid they're gonna say is, well, we don't have anybody to put up, or we don't.
So hold on. So I don't know all the, Tony, I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
I don't know all the issues that I'm not a farmer. Now we do grow the horses, but that ain't the same as what y'all are talking about.
The excuse they keep on giving is they're under a hiring freeze.
But is it a federal position?
Yes.
But also hard to say the state wants to close that.
There's the county committee, there's the state committee, and federal office.
Okay, so the state wants to, is the state paying for the office?
She's asking for help as high as she can go.
Okay.
They will-
But the onus is on the federal government to put another employee in there. Okay, that's enough for me to go with.
Right now, we're just trying to keep one more guy.
Just keep what you, well, no, it sounds like we need to get some help in there. They're slated to have 2.5 employees, and they only got one.
Right now, we're just trying to keep one more
Sounds
guy.
Our office is so
Yeah.
small that they could close it combined with O'Brien County. But
Okay.
that would leave every single one of us having to travel to O'Brien County to do any kind of signing, any kind of anything, any kind of help. I mean, you just don't want that.
Okay.
I mean, it makes it harder on all of us.
I got you.
The courthouse takes care of all the expenses, and the only expense the vet got is hers. As far as the office.
$200 for the office. That
Yeah,
includes
she
The
electricity.
county gets $200 for the office.
Nothing. Cheapest office in the state.
Right. The county receives $200 from the state to rent the office, is that what you're saying?
From the
Rent for the
FSA.
office, it's $200 rent.
$200 a year, a month, or what are we talking about?
I'm on
$200 a month, okay, all right.
Or it's it costs them nothing.
Right,
The only expense is hers.
okay.
The electric bill's $200. The electric bill
Yeah,
is $200.
electric bill.
And she's the only one in the courthouse that pays for her office. The
From an
FSA's
outside,
only.
non-county source, I got you. Okay. I took up a bunch of your time, I'm gonna go back and let Peter field the questions.
Has Marsha stated who she's gonna appoint to fill her space, Tim Burchett?
She is not.
She's not made statement yet.
We've not spoken, or she's not spoken about who she would appoint to that. She is focusing on making sure that right now she wins this primary. She doesn't go around offering positions to people that she can't fill. But we do want to make sure that we get her there because I know that whoever gets appointed to that seat is going to be a strong conservative who cares about Tennessee as much as Marsha Blackburn does. Anyone else have any other questions?
Peter, on this, adding 3% to the sales tax, how do you feel about that? And doing away with, property tax?
So there are a lot of issues that come with that, although I'm not sure if that bill's even passed committee.
It ain't out of committee yet.
It's not out of committee, so she hasn't made a statement on that. She has talked about changing the Constitution, yes on 2. She has fully endorsed that. And that would be right now we have state sale or state property tax of 0%. We're going to constitutionally vote in this election to make that a constitutional amendment so that there is no property tax at the state level. The bill you're talking about is that would eliminate property tax on the local level. I don't know. Again, it hasn't gone out of committee, so it's not at a point where she's made a comment on that. So I can't
Explain that
speak on-
again.
So
0% state property tax.
yes, that's where we're at currently for the state.
That's
And
right.
this would
State
be
gets no property tax.
Yeah.
Correct.
and what we would do is we would make it so that
Amendment to the Constitution.
we'll make it constitutional so that it takes another. If the Democrats are to take power back at a supermajority, it would take another 3 years after that to get a state property tax again, and they'd probably go for state income tax first, which I don't think the people of Tennessee would even want to vote for that, even if they were liberal.
That's also a Constitution.
Yep. But this one, it's a bill talking about eliminating local property tax, so you wouldn't be paying your county property tax, but your sales tax would go from 9.75 up to, they're saying around 14%. So that would be an increase on tax that, a lot of people have been, talking about different issues they have with that. Again, Senator Blackburn hasn't made a statement on that, especially since it's still in committee. So I can't really make any comment on that.
14% sales tax sounds high, but when you pay property tax like we do, it don't sound that high.
And he's doing that right for
We would have to take something similar to that rebellion we had a few years ago as far as state income tax, something very similar to that as far as property tax. Wait,
Yeah.
I think we're missing and fixing them actually two different issues, but there's so many different things going on concerning property taxes in Nashville right now. There's a bill on the floor that is going to cap the amount of increase that a local municipality could possibly raise property taxes in any given year. That's still in committee. There is this bill that Tony's talking about that Chris Todd, who is my representative down in Jackson where I live, was introduced. And I don't know that we even have a bill number yet, but it's an idea that he has. We're just trying to come up with any way we can to eliminate property taxes. And this is probably the most expedient way to do it. So there's a couple of different things going. And then the constitutional amendment is in the third year of a 3-year process. It cleared the House and the Senate the first year. It cleared the even higher hurdle of making the 2/3 majority in the House and the Senate the second year. And now we're going to get to vote on it in November to forever ban having a state property tax on the Constitution. Now, this is just like what we amended the Tennessee Constitution to forever prohibit a state income tax. We're just building bulwarks for the future to make it tougher for those guys in Nashville to raise taxes on people that live out here in the real world and work and on our houses and on our property and on our businesses. These are just walls we're building around our livelihoods to not be destroyed by overtaxation.
This doesn't have anything to do with county property tax.
Doesn't have
This is
No.
prohibited in the state.
The only thing that has to do with
Right.
county property tax is the bill that would limit the county how much they can raise in any given year. And that's going to be,
That's totally different.
that formula still being fought over. And then that's the only thing that touched. And then, the idea that Tony's talking about, where the county and city property taxes would be gone. And the only taxes we're paying at the state level in Tennessee is sales tax. And it's like Tony said, I prefer a consumption tax, a tax on stuff that I'm actually using, as opposed to paying the government because I happen to own a house every year. And so I like the idea of it, even though going from 9.75 to 14 sounds steep at the beginning, it's a much fairer tax, and I think it's an idea we're worth exploring, and that's what we're doing in Nashville right now.
that additional percentage, 3-4%, whatever it is, would that go to the state or go to the county?
The state collects property taxes, but that money would come back to the county.
How would they determine how much to send back?
That the amount that's increased specifically for this bill. And like I said,
No, I mean, how much do you send to Lake, how much send to Dollar, how much send to Obama?
the amount that comes from the sales tax in those counties.
From that county.
No, he told me, he said it'll be, we won't get less than we get off property tax. It'll be made even like gas tax.
Okay.
You know, we just don't get gas tax from Lake County.
That's right.
It'll be prorated like it is on the gas tax.
He's right, but just, I'm gonna say, this is all, we're still just grinding it out right now, trying to figure out how it could work. Nothing's, like, it hadn't cleared the meeting yet. There's still a lot of gears to be turned before that bill is even right.
It sure got to sound like a fireman to me.
Do we have any more questions?
I tell you what, I'd like to speak up and say that next time I intend to have something here probably 6 weeks, so everybody in here who signed up will be notified. But I would surely like to invite you back and you back anytime you want to come. You know, both very interesting. Took a lot of questions there and your answers, but based on the legality, some of the stuff you keep moving out. But anyway, I appreciate the questions that you had. So.
Yes,
But next time we show, I'd like you, and I'll invite other folks too. If you can come, please come.
so yeah, no, I really appreciated those questions. I appreciate that you're asking the hard questions because we need those questions asked. We can't just have these softballs thrown up to people. But one of the things we are doing is we have our coalitions. We've got Farmers for Marsha, we've got Veterans for Marsha, Small Business Owners for Marsha, and Moms for Marsha. And if you are interested in that, you can talk to me, you can talk to Mr. Doug here, and we can get you kind of in contact so that we can get you signed up for our coalitions list.
Let's give Trey and Peter a big hand.
I'm gonna monopolize. I'm here. I'm monopolizing. I thought there was going to be more candidates here talking about Republican stuff that we're running for. I don't know if I'll make it back for whatever it is, and I've got something right here in my hand to talk about. I don't know if any of y'all followed the news today, but the state executive committee of the Republican Party today made the decisions on removing or keeping all of the people who have filed to run across the state in local state elections as Republicans. Did anybody else follow that today? Several key names got kicked off the ballot because they're not bona fide Republicans. Have any of y'all caught that news today? Some of that stuff happened. You're going to hear the bigger names. The Judge Joe Brown guy that wanted to run for mayor in Shelby County, they kicked him out, saying he's not a bona fide Republican. We had a couple of people in Madison County we kicked off the ballot, or the state executive committee kicks off the ballot. The way this committee works is there is a man and a woman that's elected by us at the ballot to be on that state executive committee. That man and that woman from each Senate district. So your state executive committee member right now that's a man is Jimmy Harris. He's mine too because we're in the same Senate district, Ed Jackson's Senate district. Your committee woman is Shannon Haynes. Do any of y'all know Shannon or Jimmy? Okay, well, Shannon is the current committee woman. They voted today to do that. Jimmy is not running again. The only person who's put in their petition to run for the state executive committee man position is my very good friend, Mike Bryant. Mike sent me with Mike's son is a Cub Scout, and he is doing the prayer and the Scout pledge and the Scout oath at this dinner tonight that Ed Jackson is getting this award at. So Mike couldn't come. I just want you guys to know that Mike will be an exceptional state executive committee member representing the entirety of Ed Jackson Senate District in Nashville in the Republican Party. Mike had me bring some of his business cards. If anybody wants this, y'all come get one. I'll have them right back here at the table. But he's the only one on there, but I just wanted y'all to hear from somebody personally that knows Mike and will attest to his good character. Mike is retired military. Mike works as a banker by profession. Mike is currently a county commissioner in my neighborhood. As a matter of fact, when I decided not to run for county commission again in Madison County, I went and asked my neighbor and my friend Mike if he would do it, and he's sitting in the county commission seat that I used to have. That's how good of a guy I personally think he is. And I just want to make sure that y'all heard from somebody that the guy that's running in that, Mike Bryant, is a good guy. I can assure you, if there's anybody in Lake County that needs to hear their state executive committee member, he's the one we need to have. He will definitely be available to everybody. I've got his card.
Let me have one of them. I've already talked to him, and he came through here.
Okay.
But our days to meet didn't match up, so, but I will be in touch.
Say, will he be running in August or?
Yeah, this will be on the state level, so when we're voting for all the state representatives and the governor's elections, that's when that happens. And he'll be running. Now, there's going to be a contested one, the state committee woman. There's two women that are running on that ballot. Shannon and another lady's challenged, her name, Lee Edelman. So we'll get into that later. I'll let them, since there's two of them, and I call both of them friends, I will let them get into it. But Mike's not opposed, and I just want to make sure y'all heard his name from somebody here in town that's here with y'all in town that tells y'all they know.
Okay, members, anybody else got any other questions you'd like to ask our speaker? Even ask, maybe might have something you want to ask Will. Anything interesting, I enjoy it. Have you got anything else?
No, just come talk to me or talk to Mr. Doug here if you would be interested in joining our coalitions. We'd love to have you there. And he'll help you get you in contact with me if you decide later on as well.
Thank you.
But when you leave, make sure you get your good read and dope up. I don't want stuff for consequences. Thank y'all for coming. Good job. Thank you,
And before you pack up, you sign Yeah, absolutely. The band might do that or you do. You gotta have with 25. It don't matter. I just want you to think I stole your pen. It don't matter. It's right.
That's right. I said, how are you?
Will.
You should know your brother.
Thank you.